Welcome to the Divine Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Tara Magalski. Together with my guest experts, I cover topics ranging from cutting-edge healing modalities to hormonal harmony, to nutrition and plant medicine, to mindfulness and spirituality. My goal is to educate and inspire so you can create your own divine lifestyle. It's time to dive inward, rewire your brain, and heal from the inside out. Welcome to the Divine Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Tara Magalski, and today I am joined by a dear friend, Rodo Escalante, founder of Alchemy Art of Rewire. Rodo leads a movement that navigates altered states of awareness and human transformation. Drawn to the extreme edge that freediving offers, he became a professional deep diver. The water gave meaning to his mission and clarity to his methodology. His journey has demonstrated that there is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to mental health, and that alternative approaches can yield life-changing results. Thank you for being here, Rodo.
Thank you, Tara, for bringing me to your crowd.
Yes, thank you. Rodo's a dear friend of mine from Tulum, and here I am in New York in a sweater. I am feeling the feels. I am missing Tulum, I'll tell you that. But just let's dive right in. Yes, pun intended. And I want to know everything. So I know that we are going to jam pack a lot into this interview, but tell us who you were before you started freediving and founded Art of Rewire. Like, take us on your journey of your early diagnosis of ADHD, dyslexia, and autism.
Wow. Well, it's been quite a ride because I never wanted to take the medicines that the foreman doctors prescribed. And when I did, I felt very dumb, very slow, and I didn't want to have those feelings. And when I stopped taking them after a month, I was even worse, and I was only 10 years old. So unfortunately, I always try to understand the meaning of living in balance, where people in the normal life, they're happy and they're all the time punching and going. I was just sad and I was in my shell and dark. So for me, the quest of understanding what it means to be balanced was really what drove me to try different methodologies, trying different experiences. Exercises. I was very good at exercising. I was an athlete all my life because I'm a hyper ADHD person. And if I didn't work out, I was completely depressed and I was completely sad. So exercise was always my driven into feel balance, but it was not giving me meaning or giving me fulfillment. It was just a tool for me to move out of my discomfort. And I started a path of meditation thanks to Dr. Lebri, that he fusions this incredible concept of Kabbalah and Kundalini together, and pranayama and all the methodology of pranayama breathing technology. I became a huge fan because this is the mechanical way that we can understand how to access our center without any spiritual explanation or any pragmatic in the background, you know. And in the most proactive way, you can breathe normal, because we need to learn how to breathe normal, because the intentions of the ego or the intentions of the toxicities makes us breathe in the wrong way. And in this process of breathing normally, I started becoming so centered and having a normal life. But it took me 3 to 4 hours a day of practice. And then the misfortune of that is making the time to be in that space. And that's how I start becoming aware of my tricksters, you know, of my triggers, of my fears. And more, I start being happy with my fears. I start balancing my reality. So that search for balance started becoming more clear. And this is where freediving came in the hand. And like any other spiritual story, I saw myself breathing inside the water. And I found the link of what does that mean. And I met a person that told me, are you certified in freediving? And I said, what is freediving? And he said, when you hold your breath in the water. And I said, that's exactly what I'm searching, because I was so afraid of the concept. I was drowned when I was a kid. I was born with a cord in my throat. So any form of, like, when you're closed, it's super freaking out, but more breathing. And Claustrophobia was super big. So more I was breathing and holding my breath, more I was more in peace and tune in. But it was only 10, 15, 20 seconds. So I was more into how I can stay in that space that is giving me so much balance and clarity in what I need to understand. So when I went to free dive, woof, I became a huge fan because you go deep, you surrender to this concept of believing in yourself pretty much if you want to go deep. Because if you don't trust yourself, the human body is so powerful that will not let you go deeper. The human body will retain you because it will not allow you to equalize. And equalization comes from relaxation, and relaxation comes from trusting yourself. So this pattern became strong. So I started going deep and deep and deep. And in the depth, that's what I realized. What are we doing in freediving that is so powerful for mental disorders? Because when I reached my first 4-minute breath hold, 5-minute breath hold, it was as powerful as my 4-hour meditation practices. And when I say powerful, it means I was so stable and so balanced that I start reducing my 4-hour meditation practices and I start freediving more because it's more practical and it's more cool, so to speak. So,
and you can reach the state quicker, right? Ultimately.
And that's why I went deep into understand what does this mean? Like, what is this? Is it the pressure? Is it the water? Is it the practice? What is the links that allows us to access this fast track or this biohacking process? And this is why I started becoming deep into the understanding of breath hold, CO2, hypoxia, hypercapnia, and then the biohackers give this glimpse. So all this new introduction for microdosing and the spiritual realm and psychotic states, we freedivers navigate them all the time with our own breath hold. So this is the most organic, powerful way for us to access not only that state, but to use it. For those that we are in the spectrum of neurodivergent depression and autism and ADHD, we can actually have a clean slate trip. So all the entanglement of the emotions and all the stress of the anxiety and the fear can dissolve by understanding how the CO2 and how the hypoxia can reset the brain and the nervous system. And that's why I went more deep into this creation. I don't know if you want me to stop there or you want to go in another realm.
Yeah, no, I think it's so interesting because I mean, it's so evolved, right? That I almost want you to dumb it down for the listeners. You know, you talk a lot about the dark depths of the water and being like the bridge for you and the breath hold being the answer. So tell us how you came, like, what does that mean to you exactly?
That's a super cool and fun question. So thank you very much. We're going in that space.
And you can dumb it down for the folks listening.
We all, as humans, we all are afraid of our subconscious. I'm a person that when I was 17 years old, my friends went to do peyote in Mexico. It's a plant medicine that it brings all your traumas out. And this guy went, and I was like, I come from an alcoholic father. So for me, plant medicine or even alcohol, I was really trying to keep it away from me because I know I'm very toxic. I know that those substances will make me be something that I don't feel or comfortable or that way I am. So when this guy came on Monday, he was another person. And I was like, what the heck? What happened to you? And he says, I found myself. I'm like, what? I will never do that thing. Mm-hmm. So I was ashamed and I was afraid of that darkness that it lives within me. So the beauty of freediving is that the depth and the darkness, because after 90 feet, there's no light. So you only are in the pitch black darkness. This is the same as the plant medicine switch. This is the same as the rituals and the spiritual realms, but you are with depth. Because in the process of understanding and believing in yourself and surrender to yourself, when the darkness comes and death rises, you are so linked into yourself that your subconscious fears rises, but it doesn't mean anything to you. So you are able to unfold the mind and release the tension. So parallel to all these subconscious connection of the psychological patterns and all these toxic behaviors, this is the fastest track to reveal your true self, release it, embrace it, and make peace with it. Everything on a bread hole. This is depth, though. But then I come from Mexico, right? And we have these sayings of death, and we have these culture matters of death. So when you start linking the depth and death and the unfold and healing, it's just mind blown that we, for thousands of years, have been having a dogma state, how death is bad and death is the worst, which death is just a teaching. It's a peaceful feeling, actually, that when you understand it, any form of neurodivergent spectrums or any form of toxic behaviors that we have, we're able to succumb. We're able to become humble. We're able to understand forgiveness. We're able to understand letting go. And I'm talking by a person that is highly toxic and autistic. So when I'm stuck in my brain, when I'm stuck in my emotions, death is the only teacher that I could listen to. That is the only experience would allow me to break that pattern and become centered and stable. And this is why I'm bringing this message of how biomechanically, not spiritually speaking or religiously speaking, we can access those states, those frames. So whatever feeling, because I come from understanding psychology for a long time. And for many, many years, my therapist always said to you, just trust, just forgive, just understand. We understand, but we don't forgive. We understand, but we don't let go. We don't reset. And this is where the microdosing of the outer states, it's the combination of the conjunction. So you can understand it, but when death rises and the brain goes into hypoxia and you reset because you let go and the anxiety rises, then you can align what it means to be in peace. You can understand peace, yes, but if you don't put the physical body out of his comfort zone, near to the edge of death, you really don't understand the meaning of peace. You really don't understand the meaning of letting go. And it's this
surrender.
of surrender.
It's almost like surrender, you know? And now's the perfect time for you to talk a little bit about, walk us through what you can experience at one of your workshops or journeys that you put together.
The biggest challenge on the practices of spiritual purposes like pranayama or meditations or yoga is that we are in the head in the end. We are practicing. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. You're going to a flow state. You're moving the body and the breath and your comfortability. And that's are the first layers of aligning what you believe is real. What you know is only when you put the body in a very shocking, uncomfortable state. And that knowing system is an interface that we high performance athletes or people that doing macrodosing or doing psychedelics, they understand it as a click or switch. Oh, now I feel everything. Oh, I'm hypersensitive. It's a misunderstanding of a frequency that we have in the brain that is called gamma state and is super famous in this moment because you just can smoke a puff or doing a microdose and wire into the gamma state. But if you don't help the body on breathing and food and cardio, the brain and the nervous system will get swallowed. But accessing the gamma state, accessing that feeling, it's the trend. It's the new era of psychic, where it's not longer the thinking process of the ego and the toxic behaviors. The gamma state, it overruns all your ego toxic behaviors. And the gamma state is what now is being called the mind-heart coherence. And this is why any form of experience that leads you to mind-heart coherence allows you to let go and clean your toxic behaviors. So the experiences you do in the alchemy, and especially on the breath-mind navigation, it's to overrun that through the somatic behaviors of the body. What you experience with me is not what you think, it's what you feel. And when you feel and the breath hold brings the tension of the anxieties thanks to the retention of the CO2, that's the moment you need to click. Not what you think, what you know. And when you know, the body follows you. And it sounds very beautiful. It's a beautiful theory. But when you are put into practice and you bring the anxiety. If you don't have the proper guidance, you get stuck and you exhale because you feel fucking freaking out. But understanding.
I know, I've done it. I've done it a few times.
So you know where it's coming for everybody that is listening to this. But when you click and you navigate that space, then is all this gamma state, all this incredible miracle of the human mind-heart coherence. And this is the reality that you need to bring into your duality. The beauty of this philosophy of practice is that the duality in psychotic states is what most people are afraid of, because everything that is hidden in our subconscious or in our fears with the plant medicine will rise, and then you don't know what's behind that. And that's the scary part of the practice of the psychedelic states. But on the breath hold and the navigation of outer states, we can access the first layer. So before you consider and experience psychedelics, at least you know you're going to be fine. At least you know that your subconscious is going to release, but you are going to be in the driving steering wheel. And this is one of the biggest gifts that the practice gives to the people that come to the practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done many of your journeys now. And I will say that being able to really fully surrender in that moment when that anxiety comes up, and people should know also, I mean, the methodology and the practice of just holding your breath. So yes, Rodo, I've absolutely had that experience. I've been on a lot of your journeys, and the methodology is so interesting, but it's such a practice. Like, and I know you walk people through in your journeys, just being able to do the bandhas and to be able to do the breath before you enter into the water. That alone is such a deep practice. And I have had amazing experiences where I'll allow that fear to come up, really be able to surrender. And, your pineal gland opens and you can really, through the microdosing of the psilocybin, you're really able to reach deep states and deep subconscious levels and that's where you say you rewire the brain. I've got an exciting offer for all of my listeners. The free Divine Daily Practices video series. Get simple practices to release anxious thoughts, sharpen your intuition, and rewire your nervous system in less than 10 minutes a day. Come on over to my website at divinelifestyles.com/divine daily practices. And over the next week, you'll receive a complimentary self-care system to drop into your authentic self and activate your divine intuitive wisdom. I hope you enjoy. So, can you just share a little bit more about your process? Like when someone comes to you to do one of the journeys or to one of your retreats, like what is the process? I know food and nutrition is a big component. I know movement's a big component, vocal activation.
Well, the commitment, it's only requested on you will do what you feel comfortable to do, not what I want you to do. Because the beauty of this practice is a progression, and you go as comfortable as you can in the progressions that you're going through. But when you are ready for a commitment or a retreat, it's because you've already been practicing for a while, and you're going to have now the levels and certification, so you can understand better and better. So when you want to do the real commitment, which means I'm an athlete, and the way that athletes grows is only by practicing. So like you said, in the methodology, it's the vocal activation that you need to master, is the movement somatic release that you need to master, and is the breathing process that you need to master. So in the mornings, we do the proper practice of 1 hour practice breathing, 1 hour singing breathing, 1 hour dancing, moving breathing. So then we have a break for you to integrate by just opening yourself, and then we go into the practice. The boosters is part of your process in the way of you feeling comfortable. Because with the lifestyle of alchemy, you will understand that it's a very organic vehicle, that the plant medicine is a booster. We in the end don't need the plant medicines, but in the beginning, for you to open and access those states, we need to massage the hypothalamus. We need to allow the pineal gland to feel comfortable in those altered states. This is why a microdose of 0.10 grams on a beautiful navigation of the mind, you can replicate up to 3 grams, but organically. So the biological aspect is that the brain expands like a balloon and is creating neuroplasticity. So that it keeps through a frequency. And that frequency, if you do the practice, you stay in that space. And less, you need medicine to get into that space. More and more you practice the methodology, the cardio, the food, easy you can access the gamma state and more beautifully integrate your duality and your psychotic aspects of your fears and your behaviors. Food is a strong component because when the mind-heart coherence is wired, this is where a lot of people that in their life thought about doing a diet or breathing techniques after a workshop, they are committed to, because it's not about the mind-heart sole purpose of love. It's functionality, it's performance. I show you where you can be. You want to stay in this space, you don't need medicine. You need to do the practice. And the practice contains the movement, the food, and the habits. So once it makes sense, it's more about how well balanced you want to stay. But we're humans, and you go as comfortable as you can, because if you're as lazy as I am, you're going to move when you need to move. But when it makes sense, and when we're all older, I'm now 40. When I'm 30, I was more lazy. You just do when you needed to do it. And then it clicks, and then you stay in that space, and you see how it's organic. Because you practice, you stay. You stop doing it, and then the brain, like a balloon, starts sinking in, and all the neuroplasticity you created disappears, because it's a process of practice, what allows that frequency to stay in your daily practice.
I love it. And that's why we're calling this a new form of wellness. I mean, think about it. I know you're writing your book. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. I mean, what is the plan? What's next for you with Alchemy Art of Rewire? Like, where can we bring this to college campuses, to schools? I mean, people should be teaching this in a curriculum.
Thank you so much, Tara, for your hope and faith. We are trying to create a school of thought. So there's so much aspects, and it's so much information in each one of the aspects that it takes time to process and adapt all the steps. And everyone, there's people are going to feel more comfortable on the cardio programs in the pool and the breath holds in the dry land. Other people are going to feel more comfortable on the diet and the breath work. So you have a variety, you know. And what we're trying to be, it's pretty much for people like me, like people that we were misunderstood, and the science are now categorizing us like neurodivergent, neurotypical, because it's no longer mental disorders. You know, we have spectrums of those behaviors, but we're not in that specific aim of schizophrenia or autistic as an autistic that is just like this. We have just spectrums. So biomechanically, science is realizing that the brain, because we're weak humans, we're not like our parents, our brains are not creating enough serotonin, or the hypothalamus is very lazy in the morning, and now the gut system is a new functionality. So the people that resonate a lot with our work is those that we've been suffering for so many years, and these criticized and these labels that we are ashamed of them, but we actually should be proud of them. Because when you learn how to master your depression and your anxiety, it will give you so much clarity and wisdom above average people. And when you understand to use your OCD and your autism, you're going to become a highly successful people. That also, a lot of my clients are self-made millionaires or billionaires or zillionaires. But this is ADHD, OCD, highly task-orientated brains. And because they're highly task-orientated, they become highly productive, and they become highly wealthy, and then they become super wealthy, and they become more wealthy, and they don't know how to stop making money, because they don't need to make money, but it's just the way that allows them to feel balanced and stable. So this is the people that now these practices helps them to slow down and relax, because their brain and their nervous system cannot hold the level of tension of their work and their personal life without balancing the parasympathetic system. And this is like the penetration of the natural market of alchemy goes to those fields, those spectrums, the people that resonate with the work. There are many disruptors right now. Wim Hof is incredible. Wim Hof speaks about the ice, which is one of the practices that we do in alchemy. We don't do ice, we do cold. However, these brains, we don't need one thing. We need a variety because we get super bored. We're so smart, we're so fast that if we do one thing, we got bored. So in alchemy, we have always varieties of discomforts levels. So you can do sauna and cold therapy, you can do the breath hold in the water, you can understand hypercapnia in the water, you can do a static bicycle, you can do weights. Then you have the food. And that's not your breathing practice. That's what allows you to continue the frequency. Then you have the breathing practice for you to center the mind and balance it. But all of this is a lifestyle. People that do our practices, they don't want to be spiritual awareness. They want to be living in peace and balance. And this is why I teach awareness. I don't teach spirituality. I teach the biomechanic systems of how to stay in this present moment. So then, if you have a call for spirituality, please do. That's why the teachers are for. That's why the elders are for. But if you don't care about spiritual growth or that link with God, we as humans deserve to understand how to access altered states, to rewire our nervous system, and understand our duality to integrate this I want to do, I need to do, into what I am balanced to be for.
Wow. As you were speaking, a beautiful hawk, probably saw my eyes look up, came down, landed in my yard, and then flew away.
Man.
I was like, what's going on? I love that you always say that this is not for like the spiritual folks, but I'll be honest, like this is like for high performance and to keep balanced. But I believe that once you're able to master this inside yourself and the breathwork can get balanced, it's so much easier to be spiritual and to be open spiritually. So I do think they go hand in hand. From my experience, I find that your work has helped me get very clear and very open spiritually, especially when we're doing the journeys. The pineal gland is open, the mind, heart, coherence, it's explosive.
I'm very honored with your words, but in the end, I'm not a guru or a shaman. So when you are in that alignment,
I know.
You need the proper lines for that kind of work because it's your call. Either you're very crazy and you need to understand the psychotic states in those spaces, or you have an inner feeling that either in your past life you lived that, or it's just something that you want to grow. So this is why I honor your words and I thank you for what you just said to me. But there's a difference in that space.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just letting you know my experience with it.
Thank you.
But I do hear what you're saying. I do know that this is, it's an amazing methodology and I can't wait to see what's next. So tell us about your book.
Well, the book is, what is hilarious is that I never wanted to create anything for the society or the matrix. I was creating something that it helps me and I live in that space, and then I can see that I can help people and I help 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 10 and start growing and growing and growing. Now people, it's not only the experience. Now it's like, how can I stay in that space that you so much have took me by the hand in one experience? So the creation of the book, it's in one hand, my statement for the world to say, hey, I found this. Science and society, they never realize the power of CO2 and they never realize this miracle that we have in the body that is called the contraction. We only understand it by freediving, we understand it by a sport, but into the wellness or into the lifestyle category, it's mind blown for what it does to you. So I'm not a science, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would be doing my entanglements in society of the scientific community, and then that's Rodolfo, the guy that built that thing. It's going to happen like Wim Hof. Wim Hof brought ice to the world, and then science now is talking about cryotherapy. But they don't even say, thanks to Wim Hof, we found cold is so helpful for the human body, Honor the guy that brought that into your awareness. And in this case, I believe I'm the one saying CO2 and the contraction not only can change your mental health, it can improve your lifestyle, and help you stabilize your nervous system. So the book is to make that a statement. And the people that already have done journeys, that we have over 2,000 plus people, they can have a manual so they can practice, because we need to practice somatically speaking, but we need also the brain to adapt, right? So it's not only about what I'm speaking, it's what you can read and start integrating into your own process. So the book is my life personal story of how from child I became this crazy deep diver, and then how we create this manual, realizing all this technology that now, thanks to biohacking, makes total sense. And it's coming for the community, and it's coming for people that are already connecting to the work, so they can have more preparation and they can prepare better for the next level journeys or next level growth in the new web that we're going to release, where you're going to have 3 levels so people can choose. Hey, I want to understand altered states. I want to understand what it means to access, how can I repair my nervous system? So that's first level. And if you connect to the practice, if you connect to the messages, and it makes sense in your life, and you want to go deeper, second level is to stay in that space, and how you can now add the diet, and how you can add the real practices, so you can implore and grow this mind-heart coherence. But the third level is when you're ready to go and dive within your psychotic behaviors, because that's what happens when you live in the gamma state and you live in the mind-heart coherence. Everything that you always doubt or you don't like is going to start merge, because now more you believe in this, less you want that. And that creates a duality of, why do I feel like this when I do my practice, and why do I feel like that when I'm in my matrix or in my sympathetic work? But you need the fusion both. So going into a psychotic state, going to understanding what you really believe in and how you want to embrace it, is the third level. So it's not for everybody, but it's in the way that I put it together in that space.
Amazing. What do you have coming up that you can tell everyone about? You have any retreats coming up?
We're going to have a retreat in September in Europe, and we're going to be in May in UK, offering journeys and first one-on-ones as well. And I think those are the 2 big steps, because we are launching the book in Ibiza and in Portugal. And then we're going to be online mostly, so we can emphasize the work for those that really want to go deep into the practices. So we can, when we do a weekend off or we do a retreat, the people come prepared with doubts and questions, so we can polish their doubts and polish their practices, so they can stay in a very more comfortable practice.
Amazing. And where can people find you online to learn more about your work?
Alchemy Art of Rewire.com. It's where the web is going to be. Right now we have a beta version where you have the breath mind navigation practices. On Instagram is Alchemy Art Rewire. And this is where you can keep following us or check the calendars, because we're going to be in Middle East in October and the fall. And mostly we work in Europe and Middle East, but America, it's coming obviously. And next year we're going to be a lot in Costa Rica.
Amazing. Can't wait for you to come over to America. I can't wait for you to come to New York. I can't wait for you to come all across. So I'm ready for you to come across the states over here.
It'd be amazing to be with you guys.
Thank you so much, Rodo, for being here today. You're a rock star. You know that if there's anything I can do to help spread your message, I'm here.
Thank you, Tara. It's always a pleasure to be with you and being guided by your brilliant mind and your clarity and the powerful words you do. So thank you for bringing me to your community, and hopefully we deliver the messages for people that needs to get some answers about.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Divine Lifestyles Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your episodes. If you really loved this episode, screenshot it and share it on social media. It will help us to continue to make an impact. With gratitude and love always, keep illuminating your path.